Okay, day 85, still no Eric Braverman, no Brown, no Turi. Today I wanted to talk about kind of like looking beneath the surface of things and in reporting. If you've been following the Eric Braverman story, you know there's a whole lot below the surface here, and more than just the New York Times saying that he got married to Neil Brown in last year in May. The original reporting on this in 2015 when Braverman went to the press was follow the money. That's what he said to Ron Fournier, follow the money. Now, usually conspirators don't say follow the money, and usually conspirators don't go to the press. So that's why throughout this whole series I've thought Braverman has been innocent. But I do think Braverman wised up, and once he got inside the Clinton Foundation to what was going on behind the scenes with the Muslim Brotherhood and the Topples and so forth. And I've made that clear throughout this show. But if you do not look beneath the surface, if you just look at the tip of the iceberg, you think Braverman. Here's Ken Vogel's article in Politico, May 2015. Braverman came into the foundation to clean it up, and Chelsea brought him in, and he quit because it was so corrupt with Bill's friends of Bill. That was kind of the upshot of that story. Ken Vogel didn't say anything at all about Braverman starting IHRC in 2010 with Laura Graham, the gal who wanted to drive off the Staten Island ferry to kill herself. When people are going to kill themselves and there's a big argument over money, it tells you that there's more going on beneath the surface. I still haven't seen anything from Ken Vogel or Ron Fournier about anything deeper than those original two articles. I don't think they've written anything. And that's what I'm saying. That's not, I mean, they're good journalists, but that's not real journalism. Real journalism is looking beneath the surface, is what I'm trying to say, because you're never going to get the truth. Matter of fact, you're always going to end up with the superficial story. You're always going to end up probably with 180 degrees opposite of the truth, which is, CNN, So that's why I'm looking at who the script writers are. Not just looking at who the stars are, but looking at who the script writers are is so important. Politicians, Petraeus here doesn't write his own scripts about oil and so forth. Somebody hands it to him. Comedy writers wrote for David Letterman. Barack Obama has speechwriters. Nixon had speechwriters. Otpour is a speechwriter for these groups. They're doing all the disruption campaign, all the speechwriting, basically, of, here's how you protest, and here's how you throw the first grenade or firebomb, and here's what you burn down first, and here's the kids that you beat up first, and so forth, and leverage it with the press. So that's the whole science of this, is leveraging this with the press. Okay, Morell, if you didn't know, he came up with the fake WMD with George Bush. If he was the guy who whispered in George Bush's ear saying, "There's WMD, Mr. President," or he was there with 9/11, excuse me, and then he was the guy also who whispered into Bush's ear, "There's WMD in Iraq." I mean, this is over and over and over again. These psychological operations or psyops he's been doing. And again, when people have him on Face the Nation, they don't say this. Weren't you the guy who said, you embarrassed Colin Powell for life by saying there was WMD? So that's the only reason why I go into this deeper, and it takes a little bit more time, but it leads to a true understanding of what's going on. Now, the next thing is, I think I've gone about as far as I can from Portland, Oregon. And the next thing is going to Haiti. I think I have to go to Haiti, and I have to go pretty soon. I think I'm too late for getting the kids, but this is my form of disruption. Information, the reason why I say running an information or counterintelligence is better than this, going to doing something in an armed point of view, is it disrupts the opposition. As soon as I say, I know the kids are at that hospital, then they have to move the kids. Once the kids are underneath in the hospital, they're not really, they can't really be detected. You really don't know what's going inside the hospital. You look at the hospital, it looks like a hospital. But when they start moving these kids in vans, and there's a lot of dust clouds, and there's a lot of license plates that you can take pictures of. So the idea here is this is a continual, the reason why I don't know where the story is going is I have to continually disrupt this operation to create evidence trails. So, but I think I'll explain why I think I need to look into all the USAID projects in Haiti, and I have to go to Haiti. So somebody sent me Charles Ortel's audit of Haiti, of USAID. The whole answer, this is going to be follow the money for Haiti, is going to be in USAID and World Health Organization blue Jeeps running around. So that's where the answer is going to be. And I know everyone's concerned about my safety, and that's why I'm going to explain how it's going to be more of a kind of a informed trip. Yesterday, I talked about El Chapo and Sinaloa and how that was being run through Lionsgate, through Frank Justa and Carlos Slim, through Lionsgate, through these movies. This money laundering. This came out in True Pundit yesterday. If you didn't know that Hillary was behind Fast and Furious, and you didn't know that there was a consolidation of all the cartels in Mexico, and they chose Sinaloa so they could do the oil leases off the Gulf of Mexico, which is there's a big story there, then this makes no sense. It's like, well, that's just one cartel. Why would that be? The whole idea was to be able to take advantage of the oil resources of Mexico, and that's why you needed a strong man. So that's where he fits in the picture. So again, it requires a little bit deeper, reporting. This is another disruption campaign. I get tips from people who've been in law enforcement, and mostly FBI, and I'll just tell you right now, I'll tell McCabe, who's doing the crackdown campaign. They do it through kids and friends of kids, and they go to the library, or they go to the school computer, and they send me little things like, hey, did you know that Malta gives out diplomatic passports, little country of Malta, and they can travel anywhere in the world, not be questioned by police? That disrupts that. Now they've left an evidence trail. These 24 people that left the Clinton Global Initiative. The Clinton Global Initiative, CGI, if you don't know, is the arms and oil bribe funnel, and also probably the sex trafficking funnel, unfortunately, for the Clinton Foundation. This is the part that was hidden from Eric Braverman. If somebody gives me a tip and says, hey, these Justra Enterprise partners, same name as going to be the Clinton Global Initiative, they're going after these Malta passports. Now that messes them up again. First of all, Interpol can look at this and see where people have gone. Now they need new passports. They're probably going to get the King of Morocco, Casablanca. Now I've ruined that for them. Now they're going to go someplace else. That's the idea here, is keep them moving and leaving evidence trails everywhere they go. Now that they're on the run, now that the 24 people from Clinton CGI are on the run, now you got to keep them off balance and keep them leaving trails of evidence. So that's the idea here. I know it may seem a little bit disjointed. So here, going back to, I watched this movie again last night, Whistleblower, and you're going to see in the movie, if you watch it, where there's a ring of about the orphanage. This goes right back to the Syrian orphanage of about, 40 girls. And every once in a while, they kill a girl in front of all the other girls. And they say, if you leave this place, everybody in this place is going to be murdered. So then they have that guilt of murdering all the other lives there. If you ever run away, we're going to kill everybody here. So and I'm saying that Destre, I know the U.S. never brought a lawsuit against DynCorp, but I'm saying Destre was brought in. He's called a front man. You bring in the front man to slow foot the investigation. I'm saying he was brought into the U.S. Attorney's Office 1999 to 2001 to slow foot this whistleblower. That's why the U.S. didn't bring a lawsuit to DynCorp, okay? Just the same way they brought in Merrick Garland for the OKC bombing, same thing, to slow foot or Comey. Just look at Comey's whole career is slow footing investigations from the DOJ point of view, okay? So again, great movie here, Trafficked, just came out, and then Outsourcing War and Peace. The only problem I have with Laura Dickens is she doesn't dig enough. She kind of goes with, okay, well, the first time Frank Justra met Clinton was 2005. We just have to accept that because somebody from Politico wrote a story, and you have to dig. That's the only problem I have with her on some of this stuff. But anyway, here we go. I have a witness, Jessa Crisp. Watch the video. She says in our sex ring that they created for the Vancouver Olympics, they had the 12 girls, and they killed one of the girls in front of us. They did not want us to leave. They had the House of Saud and the Princes of Saud coming to that event. That's why it's always these big international events like the Super Bowl and the Olympics. That's where the princes are coming in. And they did not want these pretty girls to leave. They were making too much money. It's just that simple. Claude here, they call it a front man or it's called a cutout or whatever you want to call it. But the CIA can't, for instance, say, oh, you know what, we're going to take over the investigation of Kosovo and sex trafficking in Kosovo. Because everyone would say, wait a minute, the CIA is, DynCorp is the CIA. That doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem like DynCorp should be running the investigation of sex trafficking. That's why you have cutouts. You put Destre in there as a cutout, and he goes, well, we just don't have quite enough evidence. So this is the Comey thing all over again. Well, again, if he's not a cutout, what's he doing at the Boston bombing? Now, I do think that some of the stuff that the Corbell School has done is an improvement over old operations. Like if you look at OKC, yes, Timothy McVeigh was there. Yes, there was other conspirators. But there's going to be a group of conspirators, like 8 or 10 conspirators. And they really blew up that building. I mean, and they killed a lot of people. What Corbell School tries to do is say, we'll kill a few people, but then we'll have all these actors around as well to maximize the impact for CNN. And it'll have the same emotional impact as killing a whole bunch of people in OKC. So in a way, this is humane. And where the conspiracy theorists always get it wrong is they look at all the crisis actor type information, and then they go, oh, it's all a fake. It's not a fake. There really are people dying, and that's the ones that they have the reporters go talk to, and those emotions are not faked. But then they amplify it with the crisis actors. It's a combination of both. All of these have a real target, and then there's the amplification that they put on it, because they don't want you to dig down again. They don't want you to go to the surface. What is he doing standing right next to the bomb, in the Boston bombing is my question. He is in Kosovo. How did he get here? The guy who runs this school right here, with Ambassador Chris Hill, was in Kosovo. Every time I see Richard Holbrooke, I know that there was a good person involved in trying to negotiate a real settlement. And then I know there's a disruptor. You're going to have Madeleine Albright running all around. The Srebrenica, these massacres that the Serbs did was the disruption to get the NATO bombing. We call that waving the bloody flag. Okay, so that was the bloody flag, Srebrenica. You're going to find her in every meeting with everyone wearing shoes in the State Department. In every meeting she's going to be spreading out the photographs of Srebrenica. I'll guarantee it. This is how Pogwiniker works: is create the disruption, then bring in DynCorp with the police. Well, first the army, and then DynCorp with the police. This is Frank Justa Partners. So, and again, if you think that Podesta's a real lawyer because he's at Georgetown, or McCabe's a real lawyer because he went to the University of Washington, St. Louis, or Kadzik's a real lawyer, these aren't real lawyers. None of these guys are real lawyers. His lawyer, Jack Quinn, is the real lawyer. These are cutouts. These are all cutouts. He's a cutout for somebody who can take the rap. You put him in front of Congress, and if he's held in contempt, he does a couple of years in prison. Jack Quinn puts everything in his mouth. Same thing for Podesta. Podesta's an extortionist. He's a mafia extortionist. He works with going around and extorting money from different politicians all around the world. That's what he does. So Jack Quinn's putting everything in his mouth. And this whole story here is a joke. This is a cover-up artist from the other side, which is the FBI side. This is the DOJ side. This is the FBI side. These are all cutouts. And Comey, unfortunately, if you look at his career, kind of a cutout career. This is all one thing. That's why I keep showing it. It was one storyboard. It's all one thing. And it's, again, not me saying it. Mark Rich is saying, I took the cartel money, I bought Gaddafi oil, I bought the oil to launder the money, and I put the money in HSBC. So the mastermind is telling you that, okay? So I think I'm running a little bit long today. But so anyway, the key here is Feinberg and DynCorp. The key here is Feinberg. You can't let him get in with the Trump administration, because this whole thing shuts down again. So look at all the lawsuits. So the Hidden Donor Network, I'm adding Dynberg. I'm adding G4S is going to be one of these partnerships. Serco is going to be one of the partnerships. I'm adding DynCorp's going to be one of the partnerships. And then you're going to have all the oil and gas plays. Those are all going to be your people that are in your enterprise partnerships. And I still don't know if Braverman knows. I think maybe Braverman found out and then left, but we still don't know the answer. I can't miss this page. Keep sending me people who you think might be in this list, because if they're these are the State Department people with Gmail that are the conspirators. This is going to unlock the whole case. The key is here, if you have somebody like Huma who works for 3 or 4 different companies at the same time, reporters can FOIA the other places that she's working. If she was working at, let's say, 10AO, and then she was working at the Clinton Foundation and the State Department, and then one other place. There are other lawsuits against 10AO that are going to be coming up that we could FOIA those emails from her side and then prove that she's in this list if McCabe doesn't come out with the 650,000 emails. So that's where I'm going there. And one last note here. I know I keep promoting Conchita Sarnoff, and the CIA guys who watch this, they say, Sarnoff, come on, George Sarnoff, David Sarnoff. He was the one who did the RCI propaganda network of radio stations in South America. Yes, I know who David Sarnoff is. I know the whole story. I know Sarnoff's son was at NBC. I know this could be a cutout too. Believe me, I give everybody, like Trump said, trust everybody, but trust and verify. Or Reagan, trust and verify. I know her background. I'm keeping an eye out for that. But until she shows me that she's not going to go after the government piece of the trafficking, that as soon as she turns away and says, "Oh, this is just a little group of criminals and not involved with the government," that's when I know she's a cutout. Okay, that's a litmus test. Okay, that's it for this morning.